What about now? Can you hear and see me? Can you hear me? You hear me now? What about now? Can you hear and see me? All right. Great. Great. All right. Let's send my shalloms to everybody. Shalom Yehukanan. Shalom Marshall Skinner. Robin, Noel Jones. Danielle Douglas. Shalom Donovan. Shalom Uriel. Shalom Azariyahu. Shalom Elisheba. Shalom Anuka Yahu. Shalom Kings and Queens. Shalom Azariyahu. Abdiel. Shalom Abdiel. What's up, King? Hey, still gonna get with you, man. I was talking about that the other night. We're gonna get with y'all soon. Shalom, Sister Pauline, Sister Takaya, Muhammad. Shalom. Oh, shalom, Sister Ma'ara. Yahoo. Shalom. Hope all is well. Love you. Praying for you. Shalom with Life and Tanisha. Shalom, Ebony. Shalom, Sea Island Marshall. Shalom, Adiyah. Shalom, Miriam. Shalom. Shalom, Nakaya. Shalom, Monique. Shalom, Ari. Ooh. Ooh. Know you tired, but hold it down. Angela, shalom. Camilla, shalom. Kadashai, shalom. Shakal. So Shakal, shalom. I think that's even Shakal. Stacy, shalom. Danielle, shalom. Elena, shalom. Karam, shalom. Adeyashu, shalom. Levaisi, shalom. Sis. Abigail, shalom. Rakam, shalom. So I didn't get to talk to you long yesterday. Ivan, shalom. Malachi, shalom. Naama, shalom. Tampa, shalom. Mishk, shalom. Jason, Kafor, shalom. Sister Gaal, shalom. Nisia, shalom. Ebony, Angela, Learning, shalom. Zamar, shalom, son. Keisha, shalom. That's good. It's good. It's good. Amayada, shalom. God, shalom. Jacob, Yahu, shalom. Abraham, Nabiah, shalom. Ayah. Oh, my daughter, shalom. Samakia, Amaya, Ramona, Jacob. Laverne, Zipporah. Emma, Zoom, Yahoo. What if you want? Let's say shalom to everybody. All right. So today we're gonna deal with Emma, Your Honor, shalom. How you doing? We're gonna deal a little bit. This one is more towards the brothers, the ox, the men. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be kind of wanging because I ain't got everything in front of me, but it's all good. It's all good. I want to make sure that somebody said it's Is it frozen? Everything good? Okay. I guess everything good. I guess it's not frozen. Okay. Everything tove. That's right. Tube, tove. I gotta remember to start saying that for sure. Um, but listen, I want to talk to the ox today, the men of the covenant. I did a lesson a while back called the men of the covenant, and there's some things that I'm going to have to revisit in that, dealing with the brothers. I want to deal with the difference of understanding of a Babylonian man versus the man of the covenant. Because Babylon has taught us to be macho men, um, based on what we have learned, what we feel the idea of a man is. And sometimes that concept of what a man is destroys what we trying to build in a marriage with the family dynamic. Because we don't understand how to be the image of Yahuwah and the image of Hamashiach to our wife and to our children. And we're conforming into the idea of what we believe strength is. And it's really our fears and insecurities that causes us to build walls against our wife so they can't come and minister and nurture the areas of us and build our inner strength as we become their outward strength. And we then push this in such a way of fears and insecurities that a lot of us don't have the concept of how a man leads, but through what we've seen in the streets, through pain of what we feel like that won't happen to, that we're not going to allow to happen to us, that we have built a wall and we're afraid to allow our spouse to see the vulnerability of us when she was given to us to nurture that part of us that we may have shalom and peace. And we have taken on a misogynistic point of view that has an inward hatred or punishment of women based on hurt, based on fear, and based on insecurity. And sometimes based on not knowing even how to be the head. So we put in our mind that strength is never showing weakness. Strength is never showing vulnerability. And it causes us to become a hard shell that can't be penetrated. And to set up walls to protect our fears, because a lot of us are young boys that don't know how to lead, but only can rule through our fears. Because we never knew how to lead properly and how to shepherd. So we in the game trying to learn. And instead of admitting to Yahuwah that we don't know what to do, we try to make up what to do. And if I can't get you to honor me through demonstration, I'll get you to honor me through control. I'll get you to honor me through abuse. Because I'm not consistent enough. I'm not consistent enough to follow. So before I allow you to see that weakness, I would use abnormal use to control you because I'm afraid you gonna see I don't know what I'm doing. Brothers, y'all in here? This is where a inward resentment begins to build. And it can start from the place of us growing up, how we grew up, what we seen our father go through, what we seen our mother go through. Some things can be blood, like resentment can be a bloodline curse, and you wonder why you feel the need to control your wife. You wonder why you feel the need to have a enmity at her for some reason, and you don't know why. You just wake up and you just want to be mean for no reason, and you don't understand where this comes from. That could be a generational curse on your bloodline. You talking down to her, you talking sharp to her, not realizing that a woman is tone sensitive. You've been given the voice of authority to eradicate anything that comes against her peace, but you've been using your voice to destroy her because something in you has a resentment, not against her alone, but against women in which she identifies as your wife. Hmm. It's about four ways that this thing uh, comes down to you. There are conclusions that we make up, that we conceive because of hurt. One thing about the soul is set up to protect the individual based on pain, based on hurt. So if a man experiences hurt and pain, he shuts down and get into a place what I call the turtle syndrome. Where what does a turtle do? A turtle goes into what its shell when it's afraid. But the aspect of being afraid shows anger. And if you're walking around as a man that is angry most of the time, you look at the baseline of it and you'll see is fear. And some fear then develop because of some conclusion that you have interpreted based on the problem that you experienced, that you watched another experience, or something that came down through your bloodline. Why do you feel a need that now you at a place where you can't even compliment your wife? Unless you after something concerning sex. You feel a need that things that she desired accomplished to just automatically be against it. And this might not even play out in a place of just but just a place of where you use humor to come against it. You have to find a way to downplay her accomplishments because of how it makes you feel insecure. not secured in the purpose of what Yahuwah has established you to be as a man. So you have to go back and look at, what have been my conclusions about, because these are the areas, right? Either something that happened in the bloodline, either something that you didn't seen, and you have to go back and check these areas, something that you didn't seen your father go through concerning your mother. Sometimes if your mother has been too dominating to men, you can internalize that'll never happen to me. My father was too docile. So inwardly, I'm going to make sure that I keep my foot on a woman's, because I'm really disappointed in my father. And I'm going to take it as resentment, because that hurt me, as resentment that I have against my mother, against all women. And that can turn into, from that, or seeing your father get hurt, or a woman hurting you, that can be, I'm finna punish all women for what one woman done to me, for what my mother done to my father. So I never give a woman my heart, because I'm afraid to do that. But I would chase women based off their bodies, have sex with them, and indirectly punish them, even though I'm getting pleasure with sex. Going from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman. Because I'm hurt inwardly. Now you marry and you've been practicing something for so long that you don't know how to turn it off. This resentment and bitterness is in your nature now. And you want to love your wife like Yahusha loved the assembly, but you can't. Why? Because you have practiced this resentment, this bitterness that comes out through passive aggressiveness. Why? Because you are afraid as a man and don't know how to be in touch with what Yahuwah is trying to show you. Yet you want to conform into his image by demanding that you receive respect because you are the head. But you haven't given the woman nothing to respect based on how you lead. You're not submitted to Yahusha in the way that you love her. You're not taking on his image. Hmm. Let's look at a few things, right? Look at a few things. I'm gonna go over a few things that I went over before. Let's see. Let's go to Bereshit chapter 2. Bereshit chapter 2. Verse 6. I want to show you something real quick. We're going to go move. Bereshit 2, verse 6. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahuwah Elohim formed the man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. Man became a living soul. The man was made from the ground. What is that? The first principle of a man. The man is the foundation of a nation. He's the foundation of the nation. This is what a man of the covenant is. He's the foundation of the nation. He's the strength of the nation. And he's the honor of the nation. The man. If he's the foundation, that means that the man was built first. He was built from the ground. The man was built for pressure. The man was built to carry the weight. The foundation is laid to carry the weight of the house, of the building. An engineer goes and measures and establishes and designs the house based off of the foundation. This is why the foundation is the stability of the home. It's the stability of the house. It's the stability of the building. It's the first in construction. It's built for pressure. So how can the foundation complain about what it was built for? Men were built for pressure. Women were built to handle pain. We both have something that we have to handle. This is why women can go through childbearing and have 3, 4, 5 children, because they was built to absorb pain and produce something beautiful from it. But a man was built to handle the pressure of the family. So how are you putting pressure on your wife when pressure was built for you to sustain? You were built for it. The foundation don't complain about the weight of the building, the weight of the house. That's why a woman is not on the side of a man. A woman stands on top because her husband lifts her up and his family. This is why it says that a woman is the crown of a husband. How is the foundation complaining about work? How is the foundation sitting on a couch when the woman is going out to work? What is that? You're the foundation. You're the formation of the building that's being created. You sustain everything. You was built from the substance of Yahuwah's creation. He put in you the ability to bring forth the seed. But the man became a living soul. Some of us have not fully become living yet, but still trying to create a family dynamic. And you void and formless. It says Yahuwah breathed in the dirt and man became a living what? Soul. What have you been becoming? You formless. Why? Because you're still full of fears. You're still full of insecurities. You're still full of hurt. And you initiate that hurt throughout the family dynamic. That's why nobody in your house is budding. Because you haven't allowed Yahuwah to breathe in you the breath of life, that you may become what your wife needs, that you may become what your children need. And some must sit here and listen to this and not allow this to bring life to them. They'll allow this to bring them condemnation, which to me completely is inverted pride for somebody to feel sorry for you to stay in the place and stay paralyzed. When they're supposed to ignite something in you. To say, you know what, I'm finna take on this role and I'm finna become everything my family need. I'm gonna become a living soul. I'm gonna let these scriptures breathe in me what manhood is. Man don't sit there talking about he condemned all day. A man don't sit there thinking that Yahuwah ain't with him. Soldier never thinks he's not a part of a nation that he's fighting and dying for. That the general don't love him. It ain't about love when you in a army. It's about commitment. It's about dedication to a cause. As a man, never sit and question the love of a general, of Yahusha. He established me as a man of the covenant. That's enough love to fuel me. Now it's about what orders do I have. There's therefore what? No condemnation to them that are in Yahusha. But I'm going to eat if I ain't became a living soul. I'm going to eat it because I have to form the foundation for the family. The scripture talks about in Psalms that a wife is a fruitful vine. If I can look at your wife and she's closed in, that's a look of never seems like she blossoming. It's something that you ain't initiated in her and the family. And you're running that house through fears. Because she's supposed to be a fruitful vine. Not just having not just having children, but everything she put her hands to. And you can see life in her face. Why? Because she came out of your bosom. But if you're full of hurt, if you're full of fears, if you are full of anger, you as the foundation will be the soil of building that family dynamic. Now your family foundation and soil to grow and bud out of is fears, is doubt, is hurt. Let me go to the scripture. Let me find the scriptures real quick so I can make sure this. I think that's Psalms 128. Let me go there real quick. Psalms 128. We're going to be all right. Here we go. Blessed is everyone that feareth Yahuwah, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thy hands, and happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, and thy children shall be like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be, blessed that reverences Yahuwah. Yahuwah shall bless thee out of Zion. Thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life, and thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon the nation of Israel. You see that? Now let me show you. Let me show you another one. I want you to see when you making the soil of your house fear, hurt, insecurities. Nobody can blossom from that. Because your foundation have cracks in it. And you won't take time enough to go heal. You will project it on your wife as if it's her fault. When Yahuwah never looks at the woman in a relationship. Well, I ain't going to say never, but his full focus is to come check the man and give the man orders in order to correct his house. Now, if the woman don't abide by the correction, then Yahuwah going to come in and bust her head. But what happened in the garden? When Kawhi messed up, Yahuwah ain't come dealing with Kawhi. He came and dealt with who? The one he made responsible for the garden. This is in your hands. That's the key, that it might not be your fault, but you always responsible for the soil that's in your garden. And Yahuwah said, if you make the garden, if you become like me, if you conform him to my image, watch your home become like the Garden of Eden. That no man can find and measure on earth. It's a realm that's created that Yahuwah allow a home to become. Psalms 127 real quick. Let's go there. I hope I'm helping y'all. Look like I'm going to go over time today. Now watch this. Watch this. Psalms 127. Men being the foundation of the nation. Except Yahuwah build a house. Except Yahuwah build a house. Except Yahuwah build a house. Yahuwah is the master builder. You got to allow him to lay the foundation, which is you. They labor in vain that build it. Except Yahuwah keep the city, the watchmen wake up in vain. So if you building your house based on yourself, you're laboring in vain. This is why I look like, man, well, look like my marriage ain't working. Look like I can't get respect from my wife. Look like I can't get honor. Why? Because you keep trying to build a house. It says, except Yahuwah build a house, the laborers labor in vain. Huh? The laborers labor in vain, and the watchman waketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, sit up late, and eat the bread of sorrows. Lo children are the heritage of Yahuwah. The fruit of the womb is the reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of your youth. Happy is the man that have his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. So as the arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are your children. So what is that saying? That's saying Yahuwah is building my house so much. Why? Because he has built me, gave me direction, gave me purpose, gave me a target to hit, gave me a vision that my family may follow. What is the vision of your family? What is the vision of your household? It says what? Without a vision, the people what? Perish. So where you going? That's why we made the men down here write a vision for their family, and they had to turn it in. Why? So they can give their family direction of where we're going. And I ain't just talking about the vision of the ministry. No, what is the vision of your family? Where you going? Where have Yahuwah have focused and purpose you to go? Vision in three levels. What's the vision spiritually for my family? What's our spiritual goals? What's our spiritual goals? What have you established us to do spiritually? Do we need to grow in faith? What do our faith need to produce for us? Are me and my wife becoming intercessors in this season? That now we finna work on intercession. I'm teaching my children how to pray to become intercessors. What is the vision? Where we're going? Is it inner healing? Then we're gonna deal with that. All we do is get up, go to service, come back home, watch something online, and we ain't got no direction and wonder why our house is paralyzed. It says, as the arrow of a mighty man, so are children in the hand of a mighty warrior. Blessed is the man that's quiver. That means that now I can pull my child as an arrow and give them direction in the world of a target to go to. Because I've been showing them vision and purpose. Now I done got a vision and a purpose for this child based on what the gifts that I see in them. That now I can give them a solution that will create income. I can show them a problem in which they can solve in life that can create income for them. But if I'm just throwing arrows in my quiver, ain't none of us got no direction. Ain't none of us got no target to hit. Ain't none of us got no vision. Then I'm just what? Allowing children to come in a garden that's already dying. What's our vision spiritually? Okay, what's the next level? What's our vision in our soulish realm? That goes into redeeming the bloodline. That goes into net. No, I have this deep hurt, baby. We finna work on this because now we done talked about this thing. I done gave you my fears. I done gave you my insecurities. And this whole year, I'm gonna have a vision to work towards becoming healed. I know what's in my children because what was in me. So now we finna work through this baby. I'm paying attention to what they're dealing with. Now me and my wife, we finna, I know what's in you, baby. You work on this, I'm gonna work on this because why? We gotta become whole in this area. We gotta become healed. And me as the initiator, as the foundation, I'm initiating it first through what? Through by example. And then what's your natural goals? What you gonna do in the next 3 to 5 years? Are you gonna develop a business as a family? Are you going towards another career field? Are you buying land for the family? Are you putting a house on it? What are you doing? What are you doing? What target are you hitting? Oh man. All right, let me hurry up because I done spent too much on that. All right. Let me skip to some other stuff because I'm getting nowhere where I want to get. All right. So let's go to this. Let's go to Genesis 2 and 21. So Yahuwah caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in place of, and the rib which Yahuwah had taken from the man, he made him a shah, and brought her into the man. And the man said, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. This woman is called a shah because she was taken out of the man. For this cause the man shall leave his mother and father and shall cleave to his shah, and they shall become one flesh. And they both were naked, the man and the shah, and they both were naked, that man and the woman, and yet not ashamed." So that means they was fully exposed to each other. Fully exposed to each other. Somebody said, "Chief, what's number 3?" Oh, I gave it to you. Number 1, what is our goal spiritually? What are we trying to accomplish in the Ruach? Number 2, what are our goals on the soulish realm? What's in us? Hurt, pain, unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, uh, effects of fatherless homes, effects of molestation, effects of rape, effects of divorce, effects of adultery, effects of fornication. All of this stuff is in us, and these are the things that you, all of us, and our men and our wife need to start setting some targets through being truthful to accomplish these things and overcome these things and be healed of these things one by one by identifying. And then the third one is natural goals. What are we trying to accomplish in the natural? What am I trying to set up in the natural? Where's my family going in the natural? As it relates even to the tribe. Is it a business that we're trying to establish? Do I even want my children to have to grow up and get jobs for Babylon? Or do I want it, me and my wife want to create something, business that we can give them to inherit, or look at their skill set and say, I want you to develop this skill set at 13, this skill set at 17. By the time you're 21, you got at least 3 or 4 skill sets that can create income for you that you don't have to do like daddy did and work on a job for 15 to 16 to 17 to 20 years. I hope that did that clear that up. I hope that cleared that up. All right, let me hurry up and move because I ain't man. Shoot. All right, negative and not ashamed. Let me go to. So let's look at the fall. Because first we want to deal with how a man can have hatred towards women, which is from a misogynistic perspective. Now, I ain't talking about new age feministic thought patterns that don't want a man to be a man. I ain't talking about that. But I'm talking about not conforming to the image of Yahuwah, and you dominating your wife and you abusing her based off your fears and insecurities. That come out through passive aggressiveness. In a instead of admitting that you messed up, instead of admitting to your wife that you made a mistake, you got a Babylonian thinking when it comes to that you're supposed to be macho man, that you try to make up an excuse to dominate her and put it back on her so she won't come at you. And losing the innocence and sanctity of your marriage. Because you have to show her you ain't weak. You always know what you're doing. So that becomes to manipulation, that becomes to abuse, that becomes to control. Then that's how a narcissist is formed. High level manipulator. Let me make this part quick there. Now, let's look at the fall, right? We're going to deal with something bloodline first. Because a lot of these things in us derives from our bloodline. First, let's look at Yahuwah real quick. I think that's in Exodus 34. Let me see if I can find that. Let me show you something. Let's look at Yahuwah. And then let's see if that's us. If we saying we want to conform it to his image. Right? Now, first let's go to Ephesians 5 real quick. I gotta read this stuff fast. And then I'm trying to get to a point, but we're gonna have to make this a little series for these mornings prayer for a while, look like. All right, let's look at this. Right? Wives, submit yourselves to your husband as unto you. Watch this. For the husband is the head of the wife, and even as Yahushua is the head of the body. And he's the savior of the body. He's the savior of the body. Therefore, as the assembly is subject to Yahushua, so let the wives be taught on husband. I just want to get to the men. Husband, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also have loved the assembly and gave himself for it, that he may sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water of the word, that he might present to himself a glorious assembly, not having spot, wrinkle, or any such thing, but it shall be holy and without blemish. So men are to love their wives even as their own bodies, and he that love his wife loveth himself. For no man yet hateth his own self. No man hateth himself. So we can't relate in the relationship and bring hatred because of fears to our wife. Right? Let's look at what it looks like. What Yahuwah love looks like. Real quick. Exodus 34. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kind of jumping around because I ain't got this stuff on the PowerPoint. I'm just jumping. Verse 6. And Yahuwah passed from before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah, the Adonai Elohim. Watch this. Yahuwah is first. These are 13 attributes of him. He's first merciful. That's the number one thing that Yahuwah, when he was introducing himself, when he was showing himself, when he was revealing himself to Moshe, he said that he's merciful. How much mercy are you showing your spouse? Now, she should have did it like this, and she don't listen, and she's stupid, and why you do that, and she don't respect me, and I don't respect, and she blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Are you showing mercy? That you may obtain mercy? Are you giving her respect also? Because there's a respect and honor that every human being should receive, and then there's a respect of headship based off submission. But if you keep having to holler and call, you better respect me, I'm the man, I'm the head, you better respect me, but then you're not giving her that same respect that's owed to each other. You're not giving her that same mercy. The number one thing, and we said, and y'all, Yahuwah said he's a man of war, but the number one attribute of him is mercy. He is gracious, long suffering, patient. Are you showing these attributes? Are you a man that's uncontrollable? You get up and you just blow up. You got to say something in a demeaning spirit with a demeaning way. Nah, that's just the way I am. That's just the way I always would. I'm just kind of hard like that. Nah, you broken. Say it like it is. You broken, you afraid, and you insecure. So you got to dominate and thinking that using your voice and raising your voice to come at her is how you show that you a man. And Yahuwah don't do that to you until it's time. But he's first merciful, loving, gracious, and long-suffering, because he could have been to kill your behind. And Yahuwah show you mercy, but then you won't show your household mercy. You a terror in the house. Everybody afraid of you. And you think everybody being afraid of you is what being a man is. It's what getting respect is. And Yahushua gave a parable about a king. About a man owing, I think it was a man owing a king something. And the king of the man was received mercy. But then when the man was able to have what he needed, he went and destroyed this other man, and Yahuwah had to bind him up. This is how it's going to happen to us. Yahuwah be showing you mercy. Look at all the things you done did against him in that relationship, and he showed you mercy. But then you can't have mercy for your wife. You can't be long suffering with her. You can't be patient with her. I don't care how many men done hurt her and you got the effects of it. Yahuwah has raised you up to be a priest, a kohen to her, to minister to her need, to minister and heal those broken areas in her life. But you can't heal her if you ain't allowed Yahuwah to heal you. Quit trying to lead people. Quit trying to help people and you broken. And you think dominance is respect and fear, and Yahuwah don't rule you like that. He say he merciful, he gracious, he long suffering. He's abundance in goodness and in truth. What is your relationship with truth? Be honest, what's your relationship with truth? Because your wife is your mirror image to show you who you really are. You can fake in front of the moray, you can fake in front of the assembly, but that wife is that mirror because she see you all the time. And guess what? You can't even see yourself without looking in the mirror. So you have to go to the mirror to see what you really look like. See, we don't like that. Guess what? Because you can't see yourself outside yourself. Because in your head, you base things off what you want to be rather than who you are. But that mirror, which is your wife that see you, you can't see yourself outside of yourself, but you can't submit to truth when she's speaking it to you. You gonna always come up with an excuse. But now this is the reason. But now that is the reason. But you can't even hear with an ear of submission to Yahuwah. You hearing with an ear of offense or defense. Either you getting offended by what she's trying to tell you about yourself because she see you 24/7, or you getting defensive. You trying to explain away the reason why. Why? Because that's pride in you. It's pride. It's pride. And if Yahuwah made the man and the woman one, that means if you're one, that means you only have two ears and not four. That means when Yahuwah speaks, he speaks to the one entity, the two that became one. So it's a side of Yahuwah that only the man is going to hear. And then it's a side of Yahuwah that only the woman is going to hear. And this is why I have to listen to my wife, because Yahuwah would be silent to me on areas to speak through her to make sure I'm submitting to Yahuwah's voice in her, coming out of her being. The same thing with her. It's certain things Yahuwah ain't going to tell her. He going to tell me. Why? Because he's speaking to the ear in me that I can speak to her. And she submit to what Yahuwah is saying. But no, I'm the head. Only Yahuwah speak to me. That's all it is. That woman just trying to control you. That woman, what you listen to the woman, you head. And when she show you yourself, it says Yahuwah is plenteous in goodness and truthfulness. Can you handle the truth? Can you sit and go into the mirror, look at your wife and say, baby, how am I doing as your husband? Baby, what is your respect level for me? How have I given you something to respect? Have your respect for me this week increased or decreased? How is my communication with you? How's my demeanor? Do you know the direction for the family? Because it's not important for the head just to have the vision. You got to cast the vision to the family to make sure they can repeat it to you, to make sure they understand where we're going. Do your wife know your fears and insecurities so she can understand the behavior, so she can nurture it? See, we don't want to look in that mirror, man. Let's keep going. I know I ain't got long. I got to get out of here. Goodness, man, that's just being kind. How can you be married to somebody and you ain't even kind to them? You so forceful with your words. Where's that coming from? You so aggressive with her. Where's that coming from? Where's it coming from? I don't know. I ain't listening to no woman. I ain't listening to no woman. I'm a man. Women this, women that. Now you keep talking about women, but we're not talking about a woman. Women, we're talking about a wife. When your mind keep going to women, that means, uh-oh, you have a hatred somewhere. You have a resentment against women that you're punishing your wife. There's a dynamic in your family. Something going on with you. Something is ruling your nephesh. Uh-oh, let's see what happened. See, now, what happened in the garden? Man, I ain't gonna be able to really get through that. Let me show you how this hatred can become generational for the man. So, Kawah, which is Eve, ate of the fruit, gave it to her husband. They all got curses upon them, right? Now the family dynamic, there's a wedge there. Because what was spoken. Now the scripture says in Shaul spoke and said that the woman was led into transgression, but the man was not deceived. So can you imagine? Now I want you to watch Adam. Can you imagine knowing that I was in the place of the fullness of shalom and peace, where everything was beautiful to the 10th power? Then I watched my wife transgress. And I'm not being deceived, but I have to transgress with her. Why? Because he had to lay down his life for his wife. But then that built a resentment and a bitterness between them. How do you know? Because he was so resentful that he started wilding out when Yahuwah said, Adam, where art thou? How you falling from this place? And he didn't put just the onus on himself or her. He put the onus on Yahuwah. That's how resentful he was. He said, Yahuwah, it's the woman you gave me. Whoa. Oh, bro, you wildin'. You wildin' out. What? Yeah, the woman you gave me did this. So you trying to say that it's Yahuwah's fault for creating her. You gonna put the onus. Boy, you wanna die? Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? That's like me taking somebody through the patrol process and start going bad. And they'd be like, no, that's Chief, that's the woman you introduced to me. Oh, so it's my fault that you ain't handle your business. You see how disrespectful he got? And a wedge was driven. You got to think about this now. Because now you go from a point of never experience pain, now pain. Never experiencing fear, now you're afraid all the time. Never experiencing darkness because you was full of light, now there's darkness all around. And now your eyes have been closed, you can't even see the spirit realm, the heavenly beings, Yahuwah no more. You can only hear his voice. You can't walk with him no more. Do you know what kind of resentment and bitterness that he probably was having within, still trying to love her, but it's coming out through a bitterness? He became misogynistic. became hurt. Passive aggressive. So much that when she had a child through him, because why? You got to remember, Kawhi probably was carrying this shame, carrying this guilt, because she know that she was the reason that they ain't innocent no more. And every time they experience pain, they experience shame, they experience any of these things that they ain't never experienced, it has to go back in her head. And then he has to come to her and try to build her up. But inwardly have a hatred towards her. Not coming out saying, woman, I hate you, da 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 da. But now it comes out in the subtle ways that he do stuff, the subtle ways that he say things. Anger, being suppressed. A lot of us men do that. We suppress an anger because of hurt, because of fears. So much that when Kawhi had a child, she said, I receive a man from Yahuwah. That's showing what her affection had to go towards something else rather than her husband. Why? Because that's what women begin to do, or family members begin to do when it comes to problems in the relationship. They'll turn their affections and now they build an inordinate relationship with this child. Now the woman becomes consumed with this child. Now she's expressing her inner thoughts with this child. Now she even getting to the point, or the man getting to the point where they are speaking to the teenager about problems that they having with their spouse. Now this boy got to be around me all the time. He's the apple of my eye. And the affection that I'm missing from my husband, I'm getting it with this boy. The boy don't know. Boy looking at this just mama. I love mama. But no, you inordinate because you getting you having an emotional affair with a child. But watch how this anger can be generational. Because Cain came out of Adam when Adam was still hurt, broken, full of fears and insecurities. And it formed Cain. It formed Cain. And Cain began to notice the distance of his father. But something in him he's feeling that he don't know what to do with. I don't know why all of a sudden Cain could be walking and he's feeling depressed. He's feeling mad at something. He's upset and he don't know why. Same thing happened when what happens with a divorce of a family. Now the children feeling emotions they ain't never felt before. And what is the emotions? The emotions of the parents. Inwardly, the parents feel guilt and feel shame, but then now the children that has nothing to do with it, they what's in them begin to arise. Now they feeling the shame, the guilt, the feeling like it's their fault. With inwardly, the mom might feel like that. Inwardly with the dad. This is why Yahuwah speaks of generational curses. Now Cain ain't never felt these emotions. He don't know where they coming from. He don't know why he feeling resentful. Now he has a target, which is his brother Abel. And one day it becomes so strong that he kills his brother based off his father's resentment and anger at his wife that he had been suppressing. But the child demonstrated it upon his brother. you don't get this stuff together from your child, you'll pass down your emotional fears, resentment to your children. And you are not in control with how they demonstrate your resentment. So this is why some of us men, we carrying the anger and the fears of our father's father and don't know why we can't have a lasting, supportive, loving relationship with our wife. Because something has been passed down to us generationally. We don't understand. This is why Yahuwah said, I ain't going to kill you, Cain. Because I know where your anger was from. But I'm going to put a mark on you. And some of us still have that mark to this day. It ain't just the mark of Cain, but it's the mark of Adam's resentment and anger for Korah, carrying it out. Another way it could be generational is go back to slavery, where slavery messed up the family dynamic, where the oppressor would cause a wedge in the husband and the wife dynamic and relationship that became generational to us as a people. Post-traumatic slavery syndrome is what we deal with through epigenetics, which phobias, fears, can be passed down to the children without the children ever experiencing it. That's a great scripture. We just put that. Psalms 51:5 says, I behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. This is why cleansing of the bloodline is so important, because we want children to be born out of whole vessels. But what happened in slavery time? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make this a little serious because I still ain't get to a lot of stuff I want to get to, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out. Or I might have to just do this as a lesson. But watch it. During slavery time, right? The slave master would strip the man, and they do the same thing with a woman, but I gotta deal with the man first. Would strip the man from the image of being a man in his mind and his wife's mind. So he would allow a slave to get with another slave, and they will become married. Then the master would come in, possibly even on the wedding night, and come and sleep with the wife. And there's nothing that she could do about it. And she had to get to the point where she had to show pleasure, that she was receiving pleasure from the slave master. And sometimes they would do it right in front of the husband, with the husband not being able to do nothing. Now that builds a hatred for the slave master, but an indirect resentment for the wife, because he has to see that his wife then became one with her presence, and in the moment she had to like it. That after a while she become numb and have to go do this, but still come back to a man. And now he indirectly try to suppress his feelings, but he also begins to develop anger towards her, even though it's not her fault. A resentment that he don't want to become one with a woman that another man markets in continuously. So he'll begin to distance himself because his heart keep getting crushed. Now he has to get in survival mode where I cannot give my full self to this woman. Why? Because she belongs to another man. And I got to protect my feelings, my emotions. I can't give her my heart because it's going to be crushed, knowing that I'm not totally hers. And it grows. And now this man might become passive aggressive. And he ain't hating her, he just hate the situation and the circumstance. But how does that look when it comes down the line? Generational look. That begins to show up on somebody 400 years later. They don't know why they can't let their wife in. They don't know why they can allow their wife to nurture their fears and build up their insecurities. They don't know why they got to distance themselves. They don't know why they have just outbursts of anger and she ain't did nothing. There's some in your blood that you're trying to show you to become like Yahusha, that cleanses your blood so I can teach you where this stems from. All right, I got to stop because there's a lot more I want to hit, but I just want to hit a little bit on bloodline reasons that this type of thinking can happen to men, and why we have to be repentant and going into Leviticus 26 and 40 and repenting for the sins of our fathers and ourselves, and asking Yahuwah show me step by step this hatred for women. Me not want to be merciful, me not want to be long suffering, me not want to be gracious, me not want to be good and kind and long suffering and forgiving. What is this that's driving me, Yahuwah? Inspect the reins of my heart. Why do I feel like her emotions don't matter? Why do I feel like I got to be demeaning to her? What am I afraid of, Yahuwah? Show me myself. Visit my heart. Because I finna lose the very thing you're trying to establish, which is the kingdom. But the kingdom can't be established without a nation. A nation can't be established without a family, without a clan. A clan can't be established without a family. A family can't be established without a husband and a wife. And a husband and wife can't be established without a man. I'm losing the kingdom being born based off something I'm afraid of. So we're going to try to revisit this. I'm going to try to revisit this because we got to become men of the covenant. We got to become the foundation of the nation. We got to become the strength of the nation. And we got to become the honor of the nation. men of Yahuwah's covenant, that loving their wife even as themselves, that's conforming into the image of Yahusha, that she feel Yahusha eyes through when you look at her. She feel Yahusha hands from when you touch her. She feel Yahuwah's embrace from when you hug her. And she know she's in the presence of a Kohen by the way you minister to her. This is when a woman will follow you with all her might. When you're submitted to the head, this should be submitted to her head on earth. And she will know who's responsible for her, because your mark will be on her. I gotta go. A lot more we gonna cover with this stuff with the men, to make sure we understand it. And even if I have to end up doing a call or something where I can answer questions, I'll do that. But we got to get this thing right, man. But it's a lot more we got to cover in this that I want us to see. Some of us, it'll be the difference, and we'll cover that a little bit. As the future is the difference between some of us are Nabal and some of us are Daoud. So we'll speak on this stuff. But love y'all. Men, did this help you? Did this help you, brothers? Look like the women, the women come in. I'm talking to the man today, man. Uh, women say, hey, we need to hear this. How do I pass this to my husband without him feeling some type of way? Well, you can, if your husband follow rebirth, you can make this, and I even name it mandatory series or teaching for men. Like, hey, Chief Yahusha, Chief Mori, uh, Moshe or Musha said that all the men need to hear this. Like, boo, I ain't trying to throw something at you now, but I want you to stay along with what the men are hearing. So they said, I'm telling all the women to make sure your husbands hear this. Make sure your son hear this. Make sure your uncle, your nephew, all men in your life hear where we're going in this series. Because this is for the men. It's for the men. Oh, he doesn't. Oh, well. You have to pray. You have to pray. And you are going to have to give you, he'll get it to you. He'll get it to you. But this is, he don't follow anyone. Ooh, wee. That mean he ain't following Houston either then. Uh, He'll give you the wisdom on how to do it. Uh, he'll give you the wisdom on how to do it. Just pray and let him give you that. But this is mainly for the men of rebirth. Let me say it like that now. This is mainly for the men of rebirth overall. So Yahuwah give y'all the wisdom. I like how that said. Somebody said that man-datory. That was kind of cool. I would put that in the title. Man-datory. All right, so we gonna do these things. We'll continue on a series with this. I am going to revamp Men of the Covenant teaching and do another teaching on that, because that's going to develop into a book as time go on. Next thing that I'm supposed to try to work on. Anyway, but glad everybody was able to hear Chief this right in step with what we were discussing this Anderson here. Well, praise Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah that we was in. We always been aligned with each other. You know, we talked about a couple of things yesterday. Pride. We talked about pride. Yahuwah came in though, um, in the worship yesterday, and man, we had a healing with people that had dealt with molestation. Yahuwah just moved on me, man. And we just began to pray for so many other people that dealt with molestation. You would show me a way to pray for them and things like that. So it's just sad to see how many of our people in our community deal with molestation. So, all right, but love y'all. I got to get ready to go. Got somewhere to be, but love y'all. We're gonna see y'all soon, and we're gonna bid you shalom.